All right, Celebration Saturday. We're here at MediaCom Stadium. Just took in the 3A boys final. Dallas Center Grimes against the Hoover Huskies. What a nice start today, boys. What'd you think?
I mean, it was an awesome game, right? Just exactly how you'd love to see Celebration Saturday start, I think. If all the games are going to be close and competitive like that, we're in for a real treat today.
Absolutely, and before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's quick introduce. We got Blake Siebers there all the way to the left and in the middle here with the Titan tactician, Matt Sahag. Thanks, guys, for being here. Blake, your former hometown of Dallas Center Grimes, rolling today.
Yeah, I mean, kind of what I expected a little bit. They've been really good the last couple of weeks, turning it on, and old Ben Jackson continued his rapid, hot goal-scoring form, and Hoover was good. Like I said, there's a big challenge for this 2A game to live up to, because I don't know if you could have started the day better.
Well, let's not leave you guys hanging. Final was 3-2, Dallas Center Grimes. Golden goal early in the first overtime period after the 2-2 draw took us to the little free soccer. Player of the match is it has to be Ben Jackson, but I think one of the players of the tournament is that Javier Flores for Hoover Huskies. Let's talk about the Huskies for a minute, because I was a little afraid that Dallas Center Grimes scores in the first 10 or so minutes. I was afraid that Hoover might just crumple and be done.
Yeah, I thought a little bit of the same, because it looked like DCG had the run of play in the first 10-15 minutes, and so when they got that goal, it's like if they get a second one, it could be, the game could open up and it could be over. But credit to the Huskies, they fought back, they get it equalized at 1-1, then they go down 2-1, and same sort of feeling, right? Because the game's getting late, and then the equalizer to make it 2-2 was a phenomenal goal. Cross comes in and Flores goes up for a header, and he's got a lot of work to do with the header, right? Because it's one of those that you're far enough out and the ball's kind of traveling down where you've actually got to take your body.
Yeah, he needed to get some power behind it. It wasn't just a redirection.
Right, and so he did.
And he guided it well.
Yeah, up in the top corner. So it was a phenomenal goal, and he scored some really, really good goals this tournament. So, you know, if they win the game, he's obviously player of the tournament, but they didn't, so you got to give it to Ben Jackson, like you said.
How about the questionable tactics by Colin Lane, right? They go up 2-1 and they put Jackson all the way at the back, and looks like he starts man marking Flores for a little bit, and then clearly I'm assuming he just got put somewhere in the back because to defend a little bit, and unfortunately for them it didn't work out, but it did because they ended up winning the game.
Yeah, that's one of those decisions you've got to make as a coach in a game like this, right? And you're saying, well, so long as we don't concede, we win the game. And so in that way, it makes a lot of sense to put your best player, maybe to man mark their best player and just shut them down. But if you take your foot off the pedal, sometimes it goes the other way. And I think we saw the game shift immediately to where Hoover had more chances once Jackson drop back in. I mean, you lose your outlet, you lose your threat that stretches the game, and you want in the direction you want it to go. So I think that's what happened. And we saw immediately after the equalizer, Jackson's right back up front. So clearly there was a decision made. And
I don't know if that's a common tactic or not, but I noticed the same thing in their semifinal game. Once the game was under control, he dropped back into the back. So maybe that's something they do regularly.
Yeah, could be.
Good crowd.
Yeah.
I mean, what an atmosphere, what an environment.
Well, talk about the environment quick. The halftime environment, we heard, give us a little on John Rubino. Blake almost dropped the microphone when Rubino came out of the halftime talk in the tunnel.
I got scared.
He did.
You want to talk about a guy fired up, and a super short, brief halftime, I don't even call it a talk. It was a motivated guy.
It was a motivational speech,
yeah,
for
absolutely.
Sure, right?
And clearly, I mean, he got himself motivated. For sure, I loved it.
The boys were fired up too, coming out of halftime. So I think it did the trick, and they, he had some really, like nice comments about, putting it out there for your team, your community, and I think that Hoover can hold their head high for sure.
Yeah, I mean, overcome some adversity, right? The last few hours, day, or whatnot, and to come out, get to OT again. I thought DCG was really, really good, so I was really, really impressed with Hoover.
Okay, so that's the other big talking point. I think we should just bring it up. Hoover had 4 starters, I think is what we were told, who became academically ineligible as of yesterday after their semifinal game because grades came out at the end of the year.
Was it 4 starters?
That was my understanding. Yeah.
Okay.
So I wonder.
Whatever it was, people did not play because of grades.
Correct. So I'm just curious if that, it's a 1-goal game that goes overtime. I'm sure Hoover's feeling a little hard done by. Maybe if they're full strength, it's a different result. I don't know.
Yeah, man, I've got a lot of thoughts about that, Ben. We could be here for a long time, but it seems.
Give us the Cliff Notes
Well,
version,
the
Titan.
rule in itself, right? Where, I'm all about you've got to have grades to play, but the rule in itself, as I understand it, is that once grades come out, you've got a 20-game suspension, or 20-day suspension, right? Regardless, so you don't have to actually get your grades back up again. You just have to sit for 20 days. So players still can be failing even after they sit 20 days and still play the season. But now all of a sudden, grades come out again. And depending on when grades come out for your school or when you end class, that's going to determine who can play and who can't play. So, for example, I don't know if this is true or not, but let's just say DCG's grades have not come out yet and they would have a player failing. That player got to play today, whereas Hoover's grades came out and then they didn't. Again, that's just an example.
Because their school calendar ended 10 days ago
Right.
or whatever it was.
So that's just an interesting wrinkle there. Now, again, I'm not going to go too much to bat for an ineligible player because I just think kids should be passing their classes here regardless. So, I
think it's just an interesting talking point, and it's a little wrinkle in the story where you go, and it's something that it needs to be mentioned because otherwise it just kind of disappears on us, and we don't want that to happen. But I think you go back to DCG, they were a team on a mission. I think from the start. And
too bad the mission, Colin Lane, was like Mission Impossible there at the end. He tasted the turf a little bit. I loved it. It was great.
Was it intentional?
Surely he will say yes, but I don't know.
Oh no! Wait, what happened? I missed.
Oh,
this.
he went to celebrate and he ends up doing like a barrel roll.
Oh no!
So I don't know if he tripped or.
Well,
I don't know. We'll have to see.
Well, that'll be definitely some fodder for the post-game press conference. That'll be a nice.
I wonder if our camera guy got some footage of that.
He may have. We'll have to. we'll use that as a quick little plug. Make sure you check us out on all the social media channels. We're at KIF Soccer on Facebook and Instagram, at KIF_soccer on X. You can check us out on YouTube as well. That's where we've got all the post-game press conferences, all of our full podcast recaps.
And we have speaking of spills, we do have a TikTok video you guys should check out.
Yeah, that's me eating it in my front yard while trying to juggle a soccer ball. No big deal. So, thanks, Blake. So let's move on. We're going to watch a little 2A soccer now. Also, maybe some Champions League on in the background. Let's go Real Madrid. Thanks to Blake Sievers and, of course, the Titan tactician, Matt Sahig. All right, I'm Ben Brackett, your Soccer Talk host, alongside my good buddy and pal, Blake Sievers. It's been quite the day, hasn't it, Siebes?
It has. As evidence, we're talking 2A boys, and it's dark out, which happened at 1 o'clock.
It's a 1 o'clock game.
Kickoff.
So, we've been getting run over today, game after game after game, and trying to get coverage on every single one. The girls played today at County, and they went 1A, 3A, 2A. The boys played here at MediaCom Stadium, went 3A, 2A, 1A, 4A. What a day.
You mastered it.
Oh, I got it. I've got it. It's hardwired into my brain at this point.
So here's a plug for the first game, or the first game of the boys MediaCom, right? 3A was a thriller.
Massive thriller.
And 2A did not disappoint.
Nope.
It lived up to the hype, and it followed in dramatic fashion.
Well, and that's what we're here to talk about. We've already done our 3A recap, so let's talk 2A right now. So we had Sioux City Bishop Heelan taking on another private school.
Yeah, it was like East-West private school showdown.
Davenport Assumption, perennial powerhouse, and they've been 1A in the past. They've bumped up to 2A, but Davenport Assumption boys and girls are always competitive. Does not matter what year it is. And this year for Davenport Assumption, they were only 10-7 during the regular season. Maybe it was 11-7, but either way, not a. We got
fireworks.
That much excitement over here. I think that's what it was, at least. But
so Assumption. Let's just really quick run down the path to the final.
Let's do it.
So Assumption beats the Fighting Kirk Artists out of Glenwood in the first round as a 7 seed 4-0. and they meet Perry, which they knock off 1-0, which is over here at MediaCom. Top half
Absolutely.
of the bracket, because this is where it gets. We got a little. I love the feedback.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so
keep it coming, folks.
Who do we pick? We picked Gilbert, and we were led by our correspondent Damian Corriere, who lives in the Ames, Nevada, Gilbert area. He's about to throw something at me, I think, but he had picked Gilbert, and I think Gilbert last year they ran away with it. So we just.
Defending champion, they were undefeated.
So talk about the DM, Steve. We got a little DM today, didn't we?
Yeah.
We said that we have minimum soccer knowledge.
But again, I love it. Keep that stuff coming because
it's good. It's funny.
They call us out.
Yeah,
which is good, and they were correct.
I think they were.
We had to eat our words, right?
Yes.
I thought Gilbert would again run through it, just like they call us out on, but Bishop Heelan upsets them in the semis 3-1.
And now I watched Bishop Heelan in the quarters and the semis, and they were really a decent squad, and they played some good stuff. And old Chad over there as 2 years
Zolmer over at Assumption.
I was gonna say I don't know his last name offhand, but they've done a really good job sort of taking over from the previous administration. And that's a tough job after you've got just a powerhouse every year, and then you get the new job and you got to come in and deal with it. And he's done a really good job of, they play a predominantly larger school schedule, playing more 3A and 4A schools in the neighborhood, and I always thought that they were going to be pretty tough for Sioux City Bishop Heelan, but Bishop Heelan was good.
They met in the middle. I love it, right? It kind of county MediaCom made sense. And what a game. Let's get to it really quick. Bishop Heelan goes up 1-0. And again, echoed the 3A game. 1-0, 1-1, 2-1, 2-2, and we got a lot of free soccer on our hands.
Yeah, it was, if you guys paid your admission today, you got more than you bargained for, didn't you?
And it got warm. We introduced water breaks, and during this 2A game, and I was appalled that it's a 10-minute water break.
10-minute water break? It's an extra halftime?
To me, I don't even know if you make a substitution because it's that long. You play 20 minutes,
a great break. I
take
love
10, play 20, then it's halftime, which is 10 minutes.
I think 40-year-old Ben and 40-year-old Blake could do that.
Yeah. But for a neutral like we are, an absolute thriller, and first ever state title for the Bishop Heelan. I'm going to go out on a limb.
Sioux City Bishop Heelan
Crusaders, I believe.
Okay.
I believe we got some Catholics over here. Is that correct?
Yeah, we got double thumbs up on that.
Okay,
so we're
that's
good.
what I thought. The research came through after the DM came in that we didn't know what we were talking about. Picked Gilbert. It got us humbled us a bit.
Well, so congratulations again to Sioux City Bishop Heelan. We're going to take a quick little break and come back and talk about 1A and 4A and girls soccer and all that stuff. So talk again shortly. All right, 1A recap for the boys. The state finals here at MediaCom Stadium. Blake,
I watched it.
I know, our Van Meter Bulldogs, local guys, just didn't. Did you watch it?
I did, and unfortunately for a neutral, we just talked about 3A was really good. A lot of action back and forth. Went to
2A was really good.
Extra time. 2A followed the same path. 1A, we finally got law of averages. Kind of had a lull.
So North Fayette Valley, first-time state champions. Am I wrong about that? I don't know, but I don't know that we've seen them win.
Northeast Iowa. I talked to a couple people. They're I don't want to say northeast Iowa, but they're south of Decorah, which is a ways away.
Sure.
But they brought the town, which was super cool. I think they might have the best uniforms.
Those light blues, I love them.
Yeah. Powder, I'd call it powder blue.
Yeah, Carolina blue, powder blue.
But yeah, they were the 3 seed, and they kind of went on a little roll, right? They beat West Sioux 2-1. They won, I think in extra time over Regina.
That's correct.
1-0.
2 overtimes, yeah.
Yeah, extra time.
Yeah.
Going up against the 8 seed, the Cinderella Story, are fighting Waldrons out of Van Meter.
Yeah, what happened there?
They did. It was.
So Matt was calling them the 1 seed yesterday.
Was he?
He was.
Because they beat the 1 seed?
No, just because he thought they were the best 1A team in the tournament.
Oh. I would say they weren't they were not. It was even. I would say it was even. Like a silly kind of glancing header for on a corner for North Fayette Valley, and then really something out of nothing to make it 2. And unfortunately for Van Meter, I think they've had some injuries picked up. Again, we talked about water breaks. There's another 10-minute one in the first and second half. Their number 10 boy that's going to, I think I can say, Simpson, I think was one of their best player. He had like tape on his thigh. He was definitely not healthy, definitely not 100% fit. And I don't know if, unfortunately, North Fayette Valley goalkeeper had a save.
Yikes.
It was just a box-to-box game that was not great. You know, Van Meter plays on grass all year. I know they played on the turf over at the football stadium on last night, but it's got to be cool, right? Like they can't.
It's a great experience for all the teams, for sure.
They can't hold their head down because it's a cool story for Van Meter being in the 4th year of their program, making the state title game, and their fans were good. That MediaCom stadium was buzzing. I liked it.
So quick before we wrap it up, let's just talk in general. You got, we were talking to Matt Harding, the Iowa City Liberty coach. Shout out, Matt, and your beard. Hello.
We'll see if he listens to our 1A recap.
I think he will, because I give him a beard shout out. But it's a great beard. Check it out. But he was commenting on the 3 games in what is it, like 3.5 days or whatever, and then the Friday to Saturday, like back-to-back day. And he's just saying, the players are tired, they're worn down, like they can't. It's a lot of soccer, and I totally agree with that. But then, what was my chirp back?
Come on, like, get tough. It used to be Friday.
It literally used to play Friday night,
Saturday.
Friday night at 7, Saturday morning at 10, Saturday afternoon at like 4. Like
at Muscatine.
In Muscatine, so it's a 3-hour drive there. You're staying in a hotel if you're not from Eastern Iowa. So this is. I feel like we got some chirps in the background here, but I feel like these players are fit enough. They could be fit enough, and
So when I say fit, I meant like injury.
No,
like
I understand.
They were not.
I understand, but if you like
water break, so let's get to water break.
Okay, great. Let's get to water break. I don't think so either.
It was 80 degrees today. If you watch our weather reports,
it wasn't even 80.
You're right. It's a plug for our Instagram stories. Watch the weather report. But
That's right.
You don't need a 10-minute break every single, both halves. You get a 10-minute break. So I would argue, I don't know if anybody should come off the field if you're a starter and you're that good. If you're coming off, you're either hurt or there's a tactical change. Otherwise, if you can't play 20 minutes,
20 minutes of time, for sure.
I don't know.
These are the questions. That's interesting. But that's not necessarily a question for the players or the coaches. It becomes a question for the association to me of what's the point of that? I don't know.
Also
and what's
a little bit though. Why would you sub?
That too. There's a lot of questions.
There are.
All right, fair enough. But congratulations to the Van Meter Bulldogs, plugging the meter all year and doing a really good job again in the state final. Pat and Jonah Waldron. Special shout out to Jonah, doing a really good job.
Maddie was in the crowd, little new baby. Unfortunately, not watching much, just sound asleep, but still, first time ever.
I'll be curious to see if we continue to see North Fayette Valley in the mix, because they obviously have a good program and they made their way through a tough 1A field. So congratulations to them and their Powder Blues. Let's take a little quick break, and we'll come back and talk about the main event.
This isn't like a radio break. We can just say,
there's commercials, right? Don't we have commercials?
We're ending the podcast now.
All right, fine.
Stay tuned for...
We're going to go back to 4A. We're going to talk about the main event here shortly.
Okay, I love it.
Let's roll drags. Here we are. It's the last one of the week. It's been a long one. The 4A recap, the boys' side here at MediaCom Stadium. We were hoping for a thriller like last year, and it was not the case, although 2 very good teams were playing in the final. We had the Johnston Dragons against the Dowling Catholic Maroons. I think I said this before, but I'm still Ben Brackett, and that's Damo Corriere over there on the left. We got Blake Siebers, a Johnston Dragon legend in his own right, and then the Titan tactician here, on my left. Matt, say hey. Matthew, how are you?
I'm good, Ben. I'm good, and I should just get it right out there. I was wrong again.
Weird.
So was
Damo,
I.
how do you feel tonight?
I was wrong about my prediction, and I'm okay with that. That's fine.
I think I even got a chirp. I think I even got a
Yeah.
chirp on the social media too. Like, picked it wrong. Like, well,
Yeah, okay,
I did.
yeah.
Okay.
You guys are
Blake,
clowns. You're like absolute idiots.
I was 50% for my picks.
so Blake,
on the
let's
event,
just
which-
like talk to us about your drags. You don't need to be disparaging about your correspondence up here. Let's just talk about drags. No, I don't
I'll
think
say
so.
that. I got a couple things. One, 3 boys played the best 40 minutes that I've seen them play.
Let's give them a shout out. Who are they?
I will. But like I didn't think they were very good on Wednesday or Friday. But you can't really say that to a teenager.
You can. I'm pretty sure
I
Jimmy
can't
did.
now because they were really good.
Okay.
But Carlos Martinez was really good tonight. First
Ooh.
40 minutes,
Ooh.
he had a great little assist. He was actually very, very, very good.
Carlos, that's high praise.
Isaiah Lamarck, a complete monster at the back. Topped it off with a goal. Very, very, very good. And Kyron Pope. Like
I think Kyron's been in the mix all week, but
yeah, it wasn't very good though the first 2 games.
okay. Well, Kyron, you heard it here.
They literally won it for the Drags.
They did for sure.
They smashed Dowling, Soldiers versus Catholics. Like they handled it, and the game was over after the first 25 minutes.
That comment
And
I can't.
Frizzell,
I can't comment on.
I think Frizzell, best coaching job in the last. We've been covering high school soccer 6 years. Best coaching job. Maybe Stork gets like a half credit too because he didn't really coach
This is good,
the whole
though.
season.
This is good.
I think
Blake,
it was
talk-
unbelievable.
but
There's
let's-
so many injuries. They overcame so many things.
Agreed.
I
But
know
let's talk
Sheffy-
about old Timmy Stork real quick because I think he's the coach of the tournament, honestly, because you got Jimmy praising him in the halftime interviews the other day, and then we went in today at halftime, and Jimmy
You gotta give
like
credit. Like tell.
yeah, we went.
Get a little story though.
Okay, so we do our little like walk and talk. I'm running backwards while Blake and Jimmy try to run me over. Basically, we get to the locker
We
room.
were tickling each other. It was
Yeah,
good.
it was cute. Yeah, but we got there, and then they go into the locker room, and we're like, well, let's just hop in there with them. Why
No,
don't
we
we?
asked like so.
Well,
Jimmy goes, come. He goes. You asked like, hey, can we go in? He goes, yeah. And
So
he
we
called his bluff a little
Yeah,
bit.
so we're like, all right, great, we're
Guess
gonna
what?
go sit in the corner.
We walked in,
And Stork is in there. Stork is in there giving a master class. He's up on the board. He's got them all. Yeah, it was good. It was good.
Frizzell sorted it out. He sorted the boys out, and like we
He did.
The podcast got.
Well, they
mentioned.
chirped us. They chirped you too.
So we got
They
to
called us.
We got,
They called us a bullshit podcast.
no, it didn't. They're
They did. Let's be honest. Like, we are a bullshit podcast, and
There's kids listening.
Wait a second. Was that part of the motivation for the second half?
oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, there was that part of it. There were not any swear words. We got to be careful because we have video. Yeah, I don't know if like we could ever release it, but it was good. It was awesome, and the podcast was mentioned. Like, hey, these guys called you out because you guys all 4 of you, Weston as well. You guys all picked against the Drags last night, I think, right?
I mean, I definitely
we
did.
picked them to lose, but some of us said we would not be surprised if they won. So
Shows you how like the soccer brains of all of us. There's one of us.
All right, so Siebes, why were they so good? You talk about those 3 players, but let's hear some tactical conversation from you here.
yeah, I would like to know why. Who was the first kid that you mentioned?
Carlos Martinez.
Why was he really, really, really good?
His
Other than the fact that he had an assist.
So I kind of called him out on that first night.
You did.
His corners. He kicked 2 corners in front of us that were awful, and like it's okay. It's they play on. I don't like the grass turf debate because like it's always an excuse.
I don't think it's
Like you can't use it. But he played a little ball in around the corner to Pope for that first goal.
It was a great
And
ball.
it was
Yeah.
It really was.
so good. The proper weight, and it was unbelievable. And then he got out of so many little tight situations, and me and JoJo had a big debate. JoJo loves him, and I was like, man, I saw him play. the
JoJo's
last couple
Joseph
games.
Thonrath.
Yeah, Lincoln coaches. He just hadn't been very good, and he was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well, and
Like I think he's like the law of averages have finally come out. Like he
They balanced
clearly
themselves.
showed he was good.
Yeah. It's good.
Blake
that was
loves
a
the
great
law of
ball.
averages.
Here's what I'll say. That, I've watched Johnson.
For the farmers, cheers.
I've watched Johnson, several times in the last couple of years now, right? And including this year, several games. And rated them, to be honest with you. Like earlier in the season, they got pumped.
Drags, are you listening?
But they got pumped by Valley, right? 3-0. And so you're going, well, what's going on here? And saw them a couple of games. I thought against Iowa City High, like they could have lost that, right?
Iowa City West.
No,
High.
Iowa City High.
The first game of the
quarterfinals.
Oh, I'm sorry.
They were not very good. That's what I would agree with you, Matt. They were not very good.
They weren't. You're right.
So going into like
Sorry, Jim.
like the championship match, like watching how Dowling performed with Johnson, I'm saying I think it's all Dowling. Now, I'll be the first one to admit, totally wrong. And I think what I was totally wrong, and we were all totally wrong except for Blake. And Blake was only wrong.
He's picking with the heart.
Right,
That's a
but
hard
it
pick.
Exactly.
Yeah.
His heart is bigger than his brain.
Here's the thing about Johnson, right? Those guys rise to the occasion when it matters, right? In the moments in the quarterfinal, in the moments in the semifinal when it mattered, they got the job done. And then when it came to the final, they just put on an absolute ass kicking. Like that was not even close tonight.
Well,
and that shocks me because I watched the game here from outside the stadium, and you know, after those the game was over after those first 2 goals. The game was done, in my opinion. And so then you've got, you know, you get halftime, right? And you're like, well, if Dowling can sneak one back, maybe
You're thinking if they can get one in the first 10 minutes.
yeah, maybe
it's a game.
Yeah.
But Dowling never even has a chance. And so you could say it's an off night for Dowling because I think it probably was in a lot of respects. But
I mean, 2 end of the wire games for them, right? They're probably a little gassed.
But Johnston came out and said, we are going to win this game. Like that, they decided to win the game, whether or not they're the better team or the more tactical team or not. So all credit to those boys. I've picked against them every single time.
And you will continue to pick against them.
If in any respect that was a little bit of motivation for them, I'm happy for that. I hope that mattered. Our podcast got mentioned. I hope all the seniors that graduated come back next year and join us here.
Yeah, that'd be great.
On the microphones, and we can all have a huge debate about who's going to win and stuff like that. But gosh, those guys kicked ass tonight, and they're the well-deserved champions. And I'm happy for them.
The thing that I love about Jimmy Frizzell is he's constantly walking around with a little chip on his shoulder, and he bleeds that. It bleeds into his team, right? And the fact that I think he was kind of joking with us a little bit when he made the comment in the locker room, but at the same time, we also know that he has put stuff on the board that you have said just to get his players fired up, and Johnson is motivated. My biggest thing was that Dowling was going to be more motivated because they hadn't won it in a recent. Like none of those players have won it. Jacko hasn't won it as a coach, and so there's that sort of let's win it for the old Gipper and all that fun stuff. But I think that Jimmy is really intense and he's really competitive, and that just flows into his team.
I think too. So you're talking about Jimmy, and we talk about coaching. We've always. I mean, Tony DeCicco said in his book, coaching was 60% emotional intelligence, and I think within this match, looking at the job that Jimmy did, and it's probably about 80% emotional intelligence, and knowing how to get his guys going and getting them, and if that means poking fun of what we said on a thing, and if that works, then that's what you do. Because the reality is, sometimes tactics go out.
Jimmy's definitely smarter than he looks.
When you get on the pitch. 100%. There's no doubt about that. But
Love you, Jim.
But I would say another thing we've not mentioned a couple things. Mason McKnight as a center back tonight was terrific again. And he's been terrific all tournament. If you just watch his positioning, the way he reads the game, the way he anticipates, there was a moment late in the match that you could see him reading, and he comes in and makes a good intervention. Doesn't actually win the ball, covers provided, but he slowed the play down enough. So I think it's credit to bring him up. And then I just thought Dowling was just Dowling was out of sorts, right? But I think their back line, which is fairly solid, was out of sorts because just Johnson was so dynamic with some of their runs, and they were moving defenders and being unselfish and trying to create space for each other. I thought they were good, and we were wrong. So
Cale Leach breaks his arm.
Cale Leach,
I thought that was a big.
Did you really?
Yeah.
What a man, though. By the way, he just stood through the whole second half with a broken arm and ice in a sling, and just poor guy just sitting there, it hurts, but I don't care.
He was talking to us
I know, it was amazing.
I thought it was
what
going
a
to be a
stud.
big impact because I think he's one of the best players for that team. And I was like, this is going to be trouble in the second half because they're going to come out, Downing's going to come out, and like.
Well, we talked about the Drags
Depth.
deep team. They've got more than one player that can do the thing. So
just looking forward to next year, are they going to come back strong again? Do you think?
Yeah.
They've got a lot of boys coming back.
They've got a lot of kids you've not even seen play.
I was gonna say, like, I don't know.
I mean,
I don't want to say a lot, but like they've got guys that didn't play this entire year and aren't even.
they got guys
get
that were in the
rostered.
stands.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm sitting there going like, what are you not?
And there's a couple injuries there too,
It's-
and like that's why I think it's the best job of coach with all the injuries they've had. And I mean, like you said, Matt, that game was over. Like, unfortunately, it was an absolutely for a neutral.
It
I'm not
wasn't
like
fun
it was.
to watch.
It was not a great game.
It wasn't fun to watch.
I thought it was.
well, it's fun to
It was
watch.
fine. It was a
just
couple of
not
good goals.
for
I'm just so surprised.
Pure.
Dowling in the second half had 4 shots.
Like, look, we're
4 shots.
Like, across the road. I was ready to come back here and
That I counted.
I will have a go at Johnston now
Go for it.
because they haven't come over again. That's 2 years in a row.
I know, bummed about that.
Frizzell, come on, man. Like, you guys.
To be fair,
don't
everyone
need to
said they were
lose
going to lose. I don't know if I'd come either.
here. Yeah, but.
Well, you'd think that they would, and they'd bring the ruckus, wouldn't they?
Yeah, like those boys. I want to see them tell Matt Sahag.
Like, thanks for picking
some
against us one
things
more
that
time.
Probably we may just have an unedited version, but like, I want to see him tell you, all you boys, actually, all you boys. Weston's in the background.
We'll
too.
take it.
Like, you guys, unlucky. Like, you gave us and if that's that's awesome. I love that.
So it'll be interesting to see how a team like the Dowling Catholic Maroons, coached by old Jack O.T., I'm
They'll be
going to
back.
believe.
I mean,
I was going to say they're going to be back,
and
and
they got it sorted. Like, they'll
what-
be back.
what-
Mendez is
I was
going to
say Mendez is going to be
Vogt is
a
coming
man
back.
on fire next year. So that's going to be a good team, and I think it's going to.
coming back.
Yeah, it's going to continue. No, I think he graduates.
Oh, does he?
But yeah, I think he's going to Iowa. But I think that overall, Dowling, the program has sort of righted the ship. They're on the right track. Jacko makes the quarterfinal, and then the semifinal, and then the final. Like he's done that over a couple of years. So I think, no question, they're on the right track. And then, I mean, old Jimmy Frizzell, those zebra cakes and Mountain Dew are doing something for him.
I'm just glad he didn't get suspended this year. Because he's going to be able to. He's going to be.
Yeah,
able to
well,
coach
yeah,
the
we
full
haven't.
season.
No sanctions have been put down from President Snow yet. However, it remains to be seen.
It's actually the only thing I'm disappointed in Johnston.
Such a muted celebration.
Tonight is that the fans that storm the field.
No, it's boo.
They couldn't. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, you could find a way.
Well,
learned his lesson though. He's become a more mature coach because he
We're gonna
has.
put an orange vest on him next year. He's gonna be like the crowd control expert. Like he's a.
so 2 things. One, excellent maturity from Coach Frizzell. I think he's grown up a lot in the past.
No, he's the same.
I know. I just it's like I can't help it. But let's just go with this: who moves better, Jimmy Frizzell or Colin Lane in the celebration? That's a big question. I didn't see, but Jimmy's got that maturity. He's got that experience. He doesn't go run on the field.
All I saw tonight was telling his team to stay off the field.
Yeah, smart.
Stay
I
off,
saw
stay
that,
off, stay off.
Did you see the fist bump on third goal? 'Cause that was when it left.
Ooh.
It was over, right? Did you see that?
No.
Oh yeah, it was good.
Are you
One
gonna
for the
give us an
YouTube
example?
channel.
Give us an example. What did it
Hold my
look
beer.
like?
So there was one. It's kind of tough to tell who Jimmy is from far because there's a couple guys who have the same physique, right?
What
So-
physique is that?
So like one guy like turned around like this, like this, and then so that was pretty funny. And I was like, is that Jimbo? Because he's like he's running up the ground, this and that. And then I saw that that's Jimmy. I think he just is one of these, like, and I think he stumbled a little bit, right? But
He's fired up. He's fired up.
And so the coaches were just like, because the players all ran down to the corner flag, right? And then, that's where you get a little uneasy for Johnson because the state association's getting ready, like
President
he's
Snow is
suspended,
watching.
he's suspended, and then let's get Jimmy Frizzell too. And so Jimmy was inside his coaching box just celebrating, and it was good.
All right, let's wrap this up. What a week. What a day. You've got your Johnson Drags on the boys' side as your 4A champions. The Dallas Center Grimes Mustangs as your 3A champions. the Sioux City Bishop Heelan Crusaders, 2A champions, and your North Fayette Valley Powder Blues as the 1A. And on the girls' side, of course, Bettendorf Bulldogs, 3A, 2A, DCG Mustangs, three-peating. Big party out in Grimes tonight if you're looking for a place to hang out. And then 1A.
The Beta, the Cubs.
Okay, sorry. Hey, guys, I got 6 for 7. It was pretty close. So thank you again for following us all week. If you actually have shout out to, who are we shouting out on this real quick? Who we
Hey,
got?
Mom. How's it going? Hey, Mom.
We got to give Dan Rothert a lot of credit. Damien Corriere. Do you want to do an imitation? I missed this last
Dan, I'll impersonate you again later on. Not today.
Boo. And then thank you to Damien Corriere, though, of course, from Iowa Soccer Association. Weston McPhee, we love Wes.
Uncle T.
Uncle T. If you guys don't know Uncle T, you need to know Uncle T.
Evan Kielstrom. Dan Menon.
Dan Menon.
Looks like somebody's thirsty a little bit, but I love that.
Yeah, but no, it's been a good week. Great weather, great soccer, and I'm already looking forward to the 2025 state tournament. But it's going to be weird because it's going to be in Ames, and then we don't even know what's happening with the boys.
Stadium, super cool atmosphere for finals.
For finals, yes. Yeah.
The debate will ensue from now, but until then, thank you for joining us, and Ben Brackett signing off.
It's a wrap.